is Final Fantasy as a franchise dying? Now, to give context, there's been a couple of sales reports, especially over the past year or so, past couple of months, in regards to Final Fantasy as a franchise. Final Fantasy 16 had some strong initial sales upon release, and since then has been kind of fighting. I can't say fighting for its life, but definitely fighting to kind of maintain that sales figure, even with DLC being released as recent as last week. And Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, the part 2 of the remake to one of the most well-known Final Fantasy entries of all time, is actually right now selling worse than remake. It's part 1, and people are starting to wonder, what is it? Is it the general reception to the game, even though it's critically reviewed very, very well, and it's getting 8s out of 10s, 9s out of 10s. The Metacritic on it is very high, right? So it's not something where the game was polarizing in terms of reviews. Is it the install base of the PS5, or just not enough people have a PS5 to kind of warrant the sales figures? Is it the console exclusivity? What is it that you guys think is contributing to Final Fantasy as a whole, before we get into Rebirth? Slow but steady decline. I mean, 15 didn't sell that well either.
I think it's the burnout.
Final Fantasy 15?
I think it's the
Or 16?
15.
Okay.
I think it's the burnout. And I started to see this wave from, I would say, probably from 13 onward to where we are now. There's a particular burnout that is starting to build up from these series, because it's becoming apparent, man. You need a cutoff point. You genuinely need just a cutoff point. And like, to me, I would have ended this with the remake. The crown jewel. So let's give you that high def experience of reliving this legendary tale that is like I said, it crossed multiple platforms. Remember having children, on Blu-ray, so many other things. And I do kind of feel like Final Fantasies hit a particular point where they just need to end things. They really do. It's a burnout. It's a series burnout, bro, because it's like, yes, we love it. But, like I said, at a certain point, you just overstay your welcome. And, a prime example will be Pokemon right now. Pokemon is in a very, very, very interesting limbo because, as of now, we have no yearly installment for this year. We have the new Legends game, which is something, a lot of people have been asking for because it hits harder in terms of story and creativity. But it's like, yeah, bro, but they said 2025.
Right.
And
which is good given the steady decline of that series of like, we need something, give it some time to cook whatever you guys are working on. But go ahead.
But then it also goes back to Jory's point about hardware because, Scarlet Invited had a lot of technical issues. Like there's some YouTube clips, I literally see the person like the video is about to stream like, this is about to crash. And it goes back to like, yes, now we need more time for things. So, but then Pokemon has always had such a high demand for the next best thing. So yeah, man, everything is in a very interesting place for these long-term series.
Okay. Do you feel like the burnout, and then Joy, I want to get your opinion on it too. Do you feel like the burnout is due to a lack of innovation, right? I think to your point, like I think Pokemon, that's been its issue, right? It's been the same formula that we've had since me and Jory were all 5, 6, 7 years old, right? Where it's the same, even when they remix it a bit like this, it's the same feel. Whereas Final Fantasy, to its credit, has done something different. I want to say at least since 7 on, like every single game is there's some familiar elements, but 16 was an action game. Like 14 is a online based game. 15 is more of a extended narrative game. Like you can tell that they've tried something different each time they've approached a Final Fantasy. So where do you feel like the burnout is coming from?
I would say open world. I also feel like we have a lot of burnout from open world games in general. And I would say that because, to throw in the human element, bro, like, bro, life is changing, man, in terms of, as young adults, as we enter in this world and stuff like that, there's a lot of things that are occupying our attention. So it's like now we have to like pencil in time for video games now these days. Like, oh, how many hours I want to spend on this today? How long? How far do I want to go? Like, even when you mentioned in the group chat when you beat the game, I was like, bro, I missed that post beating the game fatigue. I missed that. I want to get back into that lifestyle, but it's just like, bro, life is so demanding. So I feel like the human elements of life also are playing a role. To be
Like
fair,
like the audience is kind of like the target audience, I should say, is like they're in a different place in their lives to even
yeah,
approach this. Like,
yes.
I got 2 hours tonight, and I can't spend it on this 60-hour game. I'm gonna go play whatever. I'm gonna go play Call of Duty with the boys, or whatever, maybe, or 2K with the boys.
We also got to understand, bro. The price tag of this particular generation is also playing a role now, man. Video games are investments right now, so people are really watching that. Well, all right, so yeah, I want to buy this, but what is really the long term benefit of me buying this?
I'm glad you said that, because I'm gonna give a perspective that's a little different.
Okay.
Tim, you're right. The price point cut off a lot of people from buying, especially in today's time. That's where half of your sale. I guarantee you, that's where half of your sales went. Me buying a game that's $70, shoes on sale are $70. Gas is $70, depending on how big your car is. Your light bill on its best day, $70. Your phone bill, $70. It's not 50. It's 50 plus 25 more. And people are seeing how much they spend in a day. That's not encouraging. Those prices are not encouraging. So for a lot of people, they said, man, I'm gonna get this game when it's on sale. And when it's on sale, $50 is now the sale point. When I'm like, no, man, these companies have to, these imaginary, let me see how much money I can make within 2 weeks. These companies need to get out of that. That's for a elect few. That's not the ruler you should measure a company's success by, because it's very foolish. There's so many variables now. You have to understand that it's going to be a slower outcome of returns. I absolutely think Final Fantasy is going to sell amazing. It's not going to sell amazing within this ruler that they have. This ruler doesn't make any. Where did it come from? Because back in the days, you had a system to where VHS movies took time. Nobody expected to get these things instant. It was not going to be instant gratification. These companies want to keep up with the Joneses. It's not a real. The problem is that they don't get it as soon as they want it. That's the problem. Because Final Fantasy is not. It's a great game. I believe people want to get the game when they see it on Twitter. It's the price point. Do I spend it on groceries, or do I spend it on this electronic game that's asking me for more money plus DLC? Right?
But
No, that's just one part of my pie. That's one.
Okay.
Second point, the means of which I have to play it. I can't take it with me on the go. Japan is on a different revolution now. The handhelds is convenient. Me taking my game with me. That's why Microsoft is trying to have you can play a game anywhere. Just log in. You know what I'm saying? That's why Microsoft is trying to free itself from a stationary home, because if you can't even be home while you're playing, what's the point? And that's why Japan, that's why the success of certain things skyrocket on the Switch, because it's more accessible. I think Final Fantasy as a franchise, it has a problem of timing, delivery. Final Fantasy 15 took years to come out, and when it finally did, like, the story's all over the place. That's one.
It's incomplete.
It's incomplete. You gotta watch this movie.
3 different packs of DLC.
3 different packs of DLC. Wait, what the heck? He can't see anymore? What happened? Oh, find out on the next episode of DLC after you beat the game. No, right? And now Square Enix does something that's like pretty nonsensical with 14 and I think also 16 kind of trifle stop, because it's like, man, which do I get, 16 or Rebirth? You have two of the same games on the same market within the same year. I think that's a no.
Well, technically, if you think about it, it was almost a full calendar year before we got Rebirth.
Yeah,
Because 16 came out like last March, and then we got
Rebirth after that.
Rebirth on Leap Day of this year.
Okay, so even with that, 16 didn't help the usher in the sales because it gave everybody mixed feelings, and mixed feelings is a no. Why am I gonna spend mixed feelings on the $70 price tag? You know what I'm saying? You could do that with 50. Oh, okay, but $60. I'll think about it. I'll wait a week.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? I'll get it. But 70 plus tax, so 75 really? Nah, man. I just think it's a accumulation of those things. It's the price tag. You have the accessibility. People want to take their games on the go. With the rise of these rogue allies, Steam decks, it's proven that it's actually better for the adults. I could be at work, 15-minute break, 2-minute break. Let me move left in this game. Let me move right. Let me make it to at least bring it to town, and then I turn it off. You know, versus you have that. Then you have the price tag. Then you have the effect of Final Fantasy. I think the open world game fails because it's not doing anything open. Me and you, when we go out, we know where we can go to Aventura as its own stage. There's things to do, right? You have to find things to do in your open world game. It has to be its own ecosystem, you know? Nobody complains about Grand Theft Auto. Oh, man, I'm bored. No, Grand Theft Auto is a self-sustaining organism in itself. And you can do that with your world. You can do that with your world. Again, you can't go off of these expectations that these companies, they want to make $2 billion within 3 days. Stop. It's not no, but you get what I'm saying? Is it feasible? That's what we want. I'm like, as a company, it's just moronic.
But it's still, what you're saying still kind of ties back to my question, even with your points, because I agree with you. I actually have no rebuttal to anything you're saying. My only thing with that is, well, then how do you explain that in the context of Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, right? Because just not even a few months ago, Spider-Man 2 does 2 million copies in like 3 days. Still has the same issues that would be happening on Final Fantasy. Console exclusive. Took years to get a sequel, right? You can't take it on the go. All of those issues still moves over 2 million copies in 3 days. And not only that, sure, Spider-Man is one of the most iconic superheroes of all time.
Into the Spider-Verse.
Well, okay, fair. However, it's Final Fantasy VII. Even if you've never played the game a day in your life, if you're a gamer who's played games for more than 5 to 10 years, if someone says Cloud Strife or Sephiroth, you know exactly who that is.
There's like a disdain for Eastern properties right now that's building up. A low, subtle disdain for Eastern properties. And what do I mean? That's what I believe. I think so, because it just doesn't make any sense. For example, why are certain games selling better on the PlayStation versus on the Xbox, when I'm like, yo, this is why your system is not being favored by people. You don't have any access to any Japanese games, and good ones at that. You know what I'm saying? I just think I feel like the mindset of the people purchasing these consoles on certain platforms, they're just not open. So I think, as iconic as me and you enjoy JRPGs, you know what I'm saying? But some people want that old rustic Fallout, terrible animation, you know.
I get that. I
Elder Scrolls.
I think that's why it's such a topic, though, right? I think, right, with 16, even though, yes, it's still a Final Fantasy, right? 16 is still technically a quote-unquote new IP. Again, because Final Fantasy is always doing something different every game. This isn't like a 15 plus or whatever. Like, it's a completely different character, completely different setting, everything. There's Final Fantasy staples, right? The summons, certain character names are still kind of carried over, but a completely different world. So I get that not necessarily connecting with people. But again, to Tim's initial point, we're talking about a game where there's been movies, there's been mobile games, there's been side stories that have sold well. People fell in love with Zack just off of a little mini side cartoon and Crisis Core. That's it. That's it. And now they're like, Zack is one of the greatest characters. He's Cloud, but interesting. So it's like,
yeah, that's true. But hey, but the original voice actor for he did a great job. You know,
for Zack,
yeah, the original, not the.
No, I know. What in the world is happening? I'm like,
not this Disney, not this Disney guy, man. But the thing is, and there was a lot of advertisement for that build-up. Like, look at Kingdom Hearts. Look at how they did Cloud. You know what I'm saying? We get to fight Cloud. Those were unexpected jewels and treats. You know, I think with Rebirth, man, it's just the timing, you know, the price point. It's steep, man. It's not even because the best case scenario during the time Final Fantasy Remake dropped, it's a COVID game. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
and maybe
I've seen that argument, but like it's a COVID game of one of the most iconic games of all time.
Yeah, and